Well, hello everyone. We're back again, and we are going to continue working on Maverick's F-14 Tomcat from the movie Top Gun. Now, if you were here last time, I did a whole bunch of painting on various landing gear parts, getting those ready to go, the various tires and things like that. I have the cockpit done, and the other day I decided to do a bunch of masking off and painting of the fuselage. And now, as you can see, different colored panels, some a lighter gray and many a darker gray. So what I've done, I originally had planned, I was going to photocopy a picture out of the manual. I was going to photocopy this much larger to match the size of the plane, and then I was just going to cut out little sections and different panels, as you can see in the detail of the thing. And then, because again, I don't use an airbrush, so I just used the Tamiya spray paint. And so I was just going to lay it down over top, and then I could spray it. And if there's a little bit of a, just a slight little overspray, that kind of gives it that fade effect, and that works pretty good. But then as I looked at pictures of the plane from the movie, to look at those panels and the type of pattern of light gray, dark gray that they have, I felt doing the little fade thing wasn't going to work so well. Plus, once I blew up the picture to match the size, like this, I realized I matched the size perfectly, but their diagram out of the manual is not really scaled properly to the size of each individual panel. So as I started to cut out little sections and then lay it on the actual model to see how it would look, the scaling was way off. Even though overall size is perfect, the scaling of each individual little panel was way off, and it just wasn't going to work. So I just did a whole bunch of masking off and painted it like that with masking tape covering everything. Another thing I had realized in rewatching the movie and taking screenshots of different scenes, they actually use different planes for the same person, the same pilot. There's so many discrepancies in the movie that you don't really notice if you just watch the movie. But when you're really paying attention to the planes, and because you want to look at certain scenes and see how that plane's coming across, and that's a good one, I want to screen cap that. You see, there's Hollywood took a lot of different planes and mashed them together in different scenes to make it as, like, say, Maverick's flying this one and he does this, or Iceman does a barrel roll or whatever. At the beginning of the movie, Maverick is flying in plane 104, but then at the ending scenes when they go off to fight the MiGs, and Maverick's going to save Iceman from them, Maverick is now flying in plane 114, and so they literally swap the planes, and so you're left with the impression, well, which one do I paint? Because Maverick technically flies both planes, and their patterns on the top are totally different. I took some screen caps, and let's see if I can get them up here to show you just exactly what I'm talking about. Let's switch this. So this is near the beginning of the movie, and Maverick is flying in that plane, and clearly it's plane, he's number 104 here, right? Um, but you can see all the different lighter and darker gray patterns. So this one is, I kind of tried to mimic that a little bit, but not so much on this one. I didn't like the fact that it's got so many just dark outlines of all the different panels. And it looks, I don't know, to me it just didn't look right. I didn't like it. So, and we have this one, there's another shot, and as you can see, there's this big panel here that's clearly a brand new panel that they put and didn't bother replacing. And they've got these two dark squares here, and again, this is designation 104, and yet this is clearly a different plane. As the pattern is totally different than this one, right? And you see that throughout the movie. This plane has this nice dark, almost a stripe that goes down from the back of the cockpit, but doesn't seem to. It's just maybe just a slight variation in the color up there as it gets to the nose, and that's it. There's a shot of the underside of plane 104 at the end of the movie, and there's not a lot of different variations in the different panels and stuff. So there's not going to be so much. It just basically looks really dirty and worn out, but that's okay. That's easy enough to replicate. Then this is continuing the barrel roll, and again, that's as you can see, it's 104, but this doesn't look right. It's like 104, but it's right. It looks like it might be upside down, and the number might actually be 401. But then you look back here on the wing, that's a totally different number. So I don't know what the heck they did, but they've done something. So this plane, this particular shot is the pattern I kind of followed, doing my darker gray contrast to the light. This is the one that I sort of followed here. There you go. That's just continuing the roll, and now you can see the number on the nose is definitely that 4 is backwards, and the number on the wing again is totally a different number. And who knows? Like, is this like a remote controlled plane, like that they've just mashed up? They didn't have CGI back then, I don't think. So, yeah, I don't know. And there we go. Again, this is number 104, but this looks more like the plane from the beginning of the movie. As you can see, the two different squares here on this particular panel, and then again, this brand new panel right there in the middle. Yeah, so like I said, no, this is supposed to be Maverick is firing a missile off to destroy one of the MiGs that are trying to attack Iceman at the end of the movie. And they cut to this scene of him firing the missile, and look at the designation on this plane. It's number 200 on the nose and 213 on the fin underneath. So, and then it has this pod on here that Maverick's plane didn't have just moments before. So, like I said, they've just took shots of actual military planes. Here, this is now Maverick returning after being a hero and saving him, and he's now in plane 114. And you can see it says Maverick here. So all of a sudden, he's in plane 114 instead of 104. Now at the end of the movie, it's another shot of it. And there you go, just a nice close-up on the other side. So it's kind of like, yeah, there we got Maverick here and Iceman's in 104, and even the font on 104 doesn't look the same as 114. So it's just all these kinds of different things. There you see Iceman coming out of the plane. So anyway, you get what I mean, right? Like, they've just taken a lot of artistic license, and it's as somebody who's trying to paint this thing to really look like the Maverick's plane from the movie, yet you don't have a clear, definitive way to paint it and make it look like it. So it's kind of, pick a scene and choose that one, and you just kind of have to roll with it, I guess, right? It's just the way it is. Yeah. So that being said, that's why I've kind of chosen this pattern. And to my eye right now, it kind of looks like crap because I haven't done any of the panel line definition or anything like that, so it kind of looks like shit, I think. I'm hoping it's going to look a lot better when I do the wash. I still haven't determined whether I'm going to use Tamiya's panel line accent color like I've used on previous models, and I really liked it. But in my last model build, doing the tank, I did the wash with just the color and then just washed it off and took a Q-tip and cleaned off all the excess. And I was actually really impressed with how that turned out. So now I'm not sure. I'm on the fence. Which one do I use? Do I use Tamiya's panel line one, or do I just mix up some super dark gray and just wash the whole thing down, let it dry, and then clean it up? I think I might try doing that because, like I said, I've used this stuff before and I've liked the results. Except when you get some panels and definitions that aren't actually creases in the plastic, but they're actually raised. That's when things get a little difficult, and this doesn't work so much because it's not falling into a crease, right? Building the F-15 model, this worked fantastic. But when I built Hasegawa's F-22, well, the F-22 doesn't have a lot of creases. A lot of its panel lines are raised. It's like raised panels everywhere. And it didn't want to follow the lines very well, and it just wound up looking like there's a lot of streaking going on. And so I wasn't quite as happy with it as I was with the F-15. Now, that being said, this stuff works great on stuff like landing gear and all the details that go into that. When you put it into the details of the landing gear here and stuff like that, it really follows the lines great. Speaking of that, the last time I was putting on these two pieces for the jet intakes, and I had to hold it down quite a long time to get it to sit because the fit was not perfect. And since then, I have solved that problem. There's no more gap here on either side, right? So that's all been cured and fixed up, and so this is pretty much done as far as this goes. The next step that the instructions want me to do is to assemble the two halves with the wings. That is the next step, but I've yet to put the cockpit in there. I want to, first things first though, there's decals. The two decals, this one here and this one here, they go on each side of the intake, just right here and here, right there, and right there on each side. Now, like I've said before, I've built this plane before, just it was Tamiya's version. And getting those decals on when the thing was assembled and you got landing gear here and you got missiles, it is a pain in the neck to get in there at this part of the plane. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to do these now, and then I won't have to worry about it later. So that, I got my water ready, and I'm going to do that now. I'm going to cut these out, and I am going to get these put on. I'm hoping, the hope is that this makes my life a lot easier later on, and I don't have to worry about trying to fit these things on there once all the gears, everything is on there. Now, of course, this might hinder me a little bit if I decide that I need to paint this or something with another coat of spray, and I've already put the decals on. Of course, that would suck, but I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. Just cutting out these little numbers here. So while those are getting ready, I think what I can do is finally put the cockpit into the plane and get that done. Let's see how that's going to sit. It's funny, it's not an exact fit, so it's easy to get a bit cockeyed in there and not have it straight up and down. But at this point, you know, I'm not all too surprised about it. It's just the way it is. Okay, I'll let that sit, just like that. Check on the decals. But not quite ready. Give that another couple of minutes. I do have my wings painted and ready to go. I don't know if you can see on the camera, so there's a little bit of a fade I put on there. And that, of course, that's from that one particular scene that I've chosen to do. And there's this one here. Oh, it's a little more pronounced on this one. You can see that this is a different color than this. And then there was this tip. It was a different color on that scene also, right? So that's that. I guess at some point they had to replace that panel, right? And so it looks kind of funny, but I think once I get the wash on there and everything, my hope is that it's going to look a lot better and a little bit more naturally weathered than the way it does now. I think once I get these decals on, it'll be time to do some detail on the landing gear panels. This is the first model, the first plane I've built. It's the F-14 that actually has like a red outline on the landing gear bay doors. The F-15 doesn't have it, F-16, F-18, they don't have that, but the F-14 does. I don't know if it's unique to the F-14 or not. I'm not sure. I really don't know. It looks kind of cool, right? When you got the red outline around the white panels, it looks pretty neat. But I'm not sure why they've done that, because when the panels close, you don't see the red outline. So I'm not sure. Oh yeah, my little sensor pod, I got that all sanded down and looking nice. I just haven't repainted it. That'll probably be towards the end of the build. Anyway, let's see here, how are we doing? We're about ready to go. Let's see which side this is going to be. I think it's going to be this one. There's one. Let's see if you can see that on there. Oh yeah, yeah, that's one side. See, that's a heck of a lot easier to do that without all the landing gear and missiles and everything on there. No, this one's ready. Yeah. That went into place almost right away. There we go. And that side's done. Okay. Now I gotta let these dry. Unlike my tank build, where I had wet decals and I kept on touching the sides all the time and moving them, and then it broke one and had to repair it. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little smarter this time, and this is gonna go over to the side for a long time, and I'm not gonna touch it because I have other things to do. Now, I need to paint some bay doors. I need to outline them in the red. So that's what I'm going to do. So check something real quick here. Okay. Now, I have other bay doors that need to be painted. These guys and these guys. They all have outlines that need to be done. Oh, in this case, these two also. I think that's it though. I don't think there's any more. That's gear. Yeah. Okay. All right. I gotta clean some flashing off of here. Actually, I think those things are supposed to come off. So. There. It's going to make painting that one a little more difficult. That's okay. I've seen guys use those tiny little alligator clips on a stick, especially for when they're painting, like they're doing their airbrushing on small parts. I finally invested in a set of those things. And those will be showing up tomorrow. So it'll be nice to finally be able to utilize something like that. So I've always, when it comes to painting small parts, like if I need to spray them, what I've always done is I just take masking tape and turn it into double-sided tape, put that on my painting board, and then I put the part down on the tape, and that way it doesn't blow away when I try and spray it. But you know, that's kind of been my fix for how to do that for years. And I saw these guys using these alligator clips, and it's like, hey, that's a fantastic idea. So I went on Amazon and I bought some. And so I'm just waiting for them to show up. And they're supposed to be coming by tomorrow night sometime. So there we go. There's the first panel with the red outline. Just like that. That's one done. Next, and that one's done. I don't know if you can really see it, especially I don't have my glasses on. I don't know if you can really see that or not, but anyway, that one's done. Next, panels on here. These ones that I'm painting now, I can kind of be a little bit sloppy with it because I actually have to go along the edge and remove some of the white paint so that it's gray again. So in a sense I can be a little bit sloppy with the red because I'm going to be removing it anyway. There's one, so you can see the difference between the two, one with the outline and one without. Right. And again, there's that one edge that I go back later and clean it up to make it nice and sharp looking. It's coming along, slowly but surely. Alright, those two done. Next, we've got these two, and it's just these little skinnier parts on here because these are actually the interior walls of the front landing gear pod. So those ones I don't do. thick on it. There we go. Put my glasses on here. So there's those. One again has the red outline and the other doesn't. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera about this one. Let's see back in there. Up, back here. There we go. Oh yeah, there you can really see it on that. But that's not the one I wanted to show you. Yeah, it is. This is the one I was trying to show you. The one I just did. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. This other one has a whole bunch of flashing on it. I've got to trim. This is the kind of thing that I wanted to show you that I'm going to have to touch up later. See that little bit of red that's around the edge of that one on this side here? That's the, yeah, we don't want that. That's not intended. So I'm going to have to clean that up later. For now, I'm just concentrating on doing the red. As far as I'm concerned right now, it's important that the red looks good against the white, because it's easier to touch it up on the gray if I need to. It's a lot harder to cover up your mistakes against the white than just about any other color. That almost sounds racist. You gotta make sure you look good against the white. I don't know, maybe that's my imagination, I don't know. Maybe my white privilege is showing, I don't know. Should I even be talking about that kind of stuff on here? I don't know. Probably not. Oh, these tiny ones. These two are unique in that, although they have the provision for the outline, they actually get to a point where there's no designated line, or not a definitive line, I mean. So I have to make it up because the mold isn't that detailed. That's okay though. Almost done. Done. Okay, so that's all done. Let's see if I can get away with washing this in here. Yes. Got my little bucket of blood now. Okay. Moving on. Now these two that I've just done up here, these ones actually sit flush against the fuselage. So this backside of them, I painted them the color of the hull, but I didn't need to in hindsight because, well, you never see it. They literally glue flush against it. So I think I was supposed to paint this. This is a ladder. I don't know if I'm going to install the ladder on the side or not. I might do it with the canopy down and then no need for the ladder. Let's check something here. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. So these are painted. Now, I figured I would try something because I have two colors of the panel line. This one is gray. Now what I've actually done is I've mixed some black into this because I found you paint the plain gray and then you try and use the gray outline, the gray liner, and you don't even notice it. So I made it darker. I put some black into it. That's kind of there's the difference there. So it's a black and a dark gray now. So I got two options. I can use one or the other for my landing gear stuff. So I figured I've got these two pieces and I'll do one gray and one black and we'll see which one looks better. Right? Because against the white, the gray is going to look pretty good. But the black might look better. So we're going to try it out and see how it looks. definitely a bigger contrast than the gray, that's going to be for sure. But how much of a contrast do I want is the question, right? The black basically, you're going to get the impression that it looks like shit, right? Like it hasn't been taken care of in years, but at the same time, that's kind of the way it is. That's kind of the reality. It's not a brand new plane. Take this and just kind of get rid of a little bit excessive. Okay, and that's kind of the way the white one is going to look, or the gray. Now I'll do the other one in black. Black, basically, yeah, it makes it look much dirtier. Big time. I might have to touch it up a little bit because the black made such a harsh wash on it. There's the difference. The black has ruined it. That's the difference on the black versus gray. The black is the bottom one. And as you can see, the black kind of smeared it everywhere and it looks like crap. I might as well repaint the whole freaking thing again. So these are not going to be a good example. So let's try the landing gear. 1 and 2. Which one looks better, gray or black? Let's see. So I clearly got to re-glue this wheel on. Try not to go so crazy with it. It's kind of easy to get carried away with it when it doesn't really want to run in the lines. So then you put more on, and next thing you know, it's like, why'd you put so much on, moron? You get it? Moron, moron. Hey. So there's the gray. Now the black. How's this wheel? How's this wheel holding up? This wheel stayed on glue. I'm going to glue this first. black definitely has more contrast than the gray. But is that necessarily a good thing? That's what I want to find out. You can already see the huge difference. At the same time, you know, yeah, it's a huge difference, but does it look better, or is it too much, you know? Like, if it's too much, should I go back with my white brush and kind of touch it up? I think it actually does look a little too much, especially like where I touch with the brush and then I try and wipe it away and it doesn't really wipe, it just smears. I'm not liking the black. I'll show you the difference anyway. This might be a little easier. This one's the black. Okay, so that's the black, and then that's the gray. And as you can see, from your perspective, there's not the black, you can see it, and the gray is really hard to see, right? But from my perspective, I can see the gray fine, and the gray looks pretty decent. Let's try this camera here. No, it's just washed out. Try. Try that. How does that look? Right, that's the gray. And this is the black. Right, see, the black is much more pronounced. I suppose if you're looking at the model from a distance, you'll see that. You'll see the black a lot more pronounced than the gray. But the black just really just got smeared everywhere in there, and I did a horrible job. So I want to touch that up. I almost want to just go and spray it white again and just start from scratch. But I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Now, let's see how our cockpit is doing. Is this nice and dry now? I'm going to stay put. It's loose at the front. Didn't glue at the front. So what do I need to do? I actually didn't really glue at all. Move the whole thing. It's only glued at the back. Just barely. So where does it touch? That's the key, right? Where does it actually connect? Figure out where it's connecting. It's only one tiny little corner that's connecting at the front that's stopping it from moving anywhere. So I think I'm going to get a little creative, and I'm going to use a sprue to connect that. So we'll take this off, and I will trim this. have something to stick to. Or something to that effect, anyway. What I need to do is trim this down. See if that in case I change my mind. Flatten it out a little bit. Is that going to work? See this. Just a little bit more surface area for the glue to stick to. Now, there. It's not perfect, but it's something for the front to actually be held in place by, right? Because there's only one tiny little thing. It's just the edge of a corner back in here. Like right in there, right in that spot there. Right there is where it's connecting. And that's it. And that's the only spot it's being glued. So hopefully that'll work and it's not going to interfere with anything. So I'll let that dry for a few minutes before continuing else with anything else. It's kind of weird. It's not the mold just isn't perfect, and so it doesn't fit exactly the way it's supposed to. So sometimes you gotta be a little creative. Okay, I think now I'm going to touch up this a little bit with the white. Because the black, although it's a nice contrast, it's everywhere. It's everywhere I don't want it to be, as well. So it's just a little too much. there's a sense I don't mind that it looks dirty, because there's a lot of hydraulics going on with the landing gear and stuff like that, and you're going to get hydraulic leaks. Cylinders, they seep and stuff like that. It happens. And, let's face it, the world we live in is dirty. And things like dirt are going to collect on there. It's going to be dry, and then you get a little touch of hydraulic fluid on it, and now that's stuck on there, right? It's just the way it is. That's life. Okay, so I think that looks a little bit better. It's not so just smeared with black everywhere now. Okay, now this guy, I basically just smeared with black. When it's supposed to be white. I want it to look weathered. I want it to look a little old. The plane is old. It's not a brand new plane. It's a Navy plane, so it sees a lot of sea salt air. All those good things. But to just have it completely washed out with a super dark gray, it's just a little too much. Even this one, just a little too much. Just washed all the white away, covered it in the gray. Lost all of the contrast. There. Okay, that looks better. I'm a lot happier with that. Now, so there's the improved look. This is the black, right? Looks a lot better now that there's a lot more white to contrast the black. And there's the improved gray. Looks pretty much the same. The black is darker, obviously, you can tell that in the light, right? I think the black looks better. It's a better contrast, like especially if I just sit them here and I look back, the black looks much more defined. But at the same time, if the black's going to wash everything away and just basically go, hey, I'm black now, that's not the look I'm going for. Because I still have other parts to do. And I don't know, I don't want to have to go back to them all. The black does look good though. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it in black. I'm going to do it in black. Bye-bye gray. Okay. Doing it in black. And then if I need to touch up with some more white, then so be it. That's what I do. Shame that they didn't include those two little arm pieces that were supposed to go with the front landing gear. Somehow they got lost or whatever. They never came with the model. I remember that from last time. I was looking for them and they weren't on any sprue at all. It's just like, I don't know, it references an index number that just doesn't exist. And that's unfortunate, but it's the way it was. Basically wanting to run it down anywhere there's a joint or a line of some sort. Gives it that kind of a shadow look. I don't know if it's more realistic or not. Yeah. So I can touch up some of the white on there where it looks like I've dabbed it with the brush and it looks like crap. That's easy enough to do. I suppose it's one of those things like, oh, I didn't expect to have to do that, and then yeah, you do, whatever. One thing I've yet to determine is what is going to be best. Like, I've seen guys use this stuff and they just kind of smear it on everywhere. And then they go back afterwards and they clean it all up. But they clean it up with, I'm not sure what they use. If it's, it can't be lacquer thinner. It's the first thing that's coming to my mind. But maybe it's mineral spirits or something. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I'm not sure what it is that they use. because they're able to take this stuff off without taking off the paint. Off the rest of the model, like their base coat that they've put on, the color, and they're just taking off this stuff, and I don't know what it is that they use. There we go. That's those panels. Like I said, I'll have to touch them up a little bit to make them look a little better. But again, that's okay. I just royally screwed this one up. Where the heck did that? Might as well just paint the fucking thing black. Oh well. Not the end of the world. That's why they make white paint. Okay, so those are done. Well, they're not done, but they're done. Do my wheels here. Apparently I'm doing my finger as well. totally forgot. Left this side off when I did it in the gray. It's like I just forgot to do it. Maybe I did. There. Okay. That's done. Done. That sheet's done. This might be dry now. Yeah. That's much better. It's actually being held in place. Where's it? Yeah. No, yeah, no. It is being held in place just barely. I need a little more glue in there. Look at this thing. On my custom piece. Okay. Now, let's refer to the instructions and see what the actual next step is supposed to be. Because I've kind of jumped ahead and painted stuff and lost a little bit track of where I'm supposed to be going next. Okay, so the cockpit's there. We've got the cockpit in. I can put the main pilot seat in. I've put the intakes on the bottom fuselage. And then the next step is supposed to be assembling the two halves with the wings. I'm playing around with it yesterday, and getting that bit of the fog on the wing here, and where it's going to sit on the actual plane. Putting it together is going to be a pain in the ass. I already know that because it was yesterday. So let's get the seat glued in here. Since I'm not painting anything right now, what I'm going to do is dump out my water so that I don't accidentally spill it. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so let's get the seat glued in. First, do a little test fit here. Just like that. Done. Alright. So the cockpit is complete. Now, I'm just going to let this dry for a couple minutes. I want to do the black outlining on that. amazing what a huge difference it makes doing this. Like just in that, you can see from one side to the other, right? Suddenly there's detail there that you just didn't really see before. Alright, good enough. Now, if I want to touch that up and put some white in there and make it a little bit more detail, I can. But our next step is assembling the two pieces with the wings. Something underneath them to hold them up. Too tall. Not tall enough. Maybe I just have to put too tall. This guy. Too tall. Shit. If I do that, and hold. Okay. I guess I'll get my other one out. Okay. Shit. Stay. And set. Right here. Okay. Stay. That's the biggest problem, is those wings actually staying in place because they just want to fall down. What if I tape them? I can tape them. Can I tape them? I could try taping them from underneath. That's an idea, that's a thought. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's see. Works that direction. What about this? Not really, but it's not the end of the world. I need another roll of masking tape to put under this side. What about? Nope. This one. It's too light. Oh, that's almost perfect. There we go. Now we're cooking. Now I'll be able to put glue on it and not have to hold the wings at the same time. Yay! I am going to need some tape ready. For holding it together, because just in my test fits in the last few days, I know it don't fit together all that great. I think I inadvertently put tape on over one of my decals. Oh, room dirty. I'll check that out. Streamdetails.com. Okay. I'll give that a try. I'll check it out when I'm all done here. Okay. Now for some glue. I'm going to change this back. Let's see. Oh, that's going to be a problem right off the bat. Okay. Now for the big. Yes, there's a problem right there. So the wings have to go underneath there. There we go. Said before, the fit is not the best. at the back is okay. Strip right here. Back is fine. Challenge is the front. Of course, the big challenge is the nose. The nose doesn't fit together hardly at all. I think my glue is dried already for the front. That's okay. There's always more glue. Which one's this is from? These two. That. Now that actually didn't go together too badly. I thought I was going to have the wings fall off on me 4 or 5 times, because that's what it was doing before. But it's not bad. Not bad. Feeling I'm going to have to add glue in there on these parts here, the tips. I don't think the alligator clips are going to, as soon as I take them off, I think it's going to spread apart. But we'll see. And the best news is the decals are still in place. Okay. So throw some glue in. Squeeze them together. Yeah, see what I mean by the fitment not being perfect. You can see the big gap along here, right? Now I've got this close together as close as it'll go, and there's still a big gap there, right along there. You can see the huge seam. It just doesn't fit perfect. And there isn't really much I can do about it. It's even sticking out from the edge. It's like it's just not a perfect mold. I have a feeling, based on my experience with this, that unless there's a particular plane that I can't get from another manufacturer, I don't think I'm going to buy another Revell model, because I'm really not happy with the way this is going. I've never been really good at adding, like I have to me a putty. I've used it. It dries super fast, but It's just, I'm not great at sculpting and sanding and stuff like that, and hiding the seams and stuff like that, and all that stuff. I've never been really fantastic at that, and so I don't like using it. So when a model doesn't have really fantastic fitment like Tamiya does, it's like, okay, so then I'm going to be done and it's going to look like shit, right? Like I said before, I'm not a professional modeler. I don't get paid for this. I don't have years and years and years of experience constantly building models all the time to get super fantastic at building them. I do okay. I get by, I guess you could say. I could fill that in with the putty and then just sand it and then leave it, and then at least it's not a big gaping hole, big gaping crack. The panel line will still be noticeable, but it won't be so dramatically in your face, right? I am going to have to reglue that, because even though I've got the tape on there, I think the glue had dried. I just realized when I was doing the panel line stuff in this, I touched with the side of the brush there. Oops. And of course that's not watercolor, so I can't just wipe that away. So, but I'll have to deal with that later. I'm going to let this dry for a little bit and see what they want me to do next. Now that's together. All steps here are done. Next. Yep, just put the two halves together, that's done. Now they want me to move on to the front landing gear and start working on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my white paint and I'm going to start touching up all the black detail that I did on the landing gear while I let this set for a little bit. I just want to test fit my engines. Yeah, they're okay. There isn't a certain orientation that they're supposed to be in. They just kind of, like, you see that movement there? That's like, yeah, it's dumb. This back piece didn't really get, even though I put glue on it, I guess moving it around so much didn't help it. So I need another piece of tape. I'm going overboard with the alligator clips on this, but I just want to make sure it stays. Okay. Put that down for now. Back with my things. back with my things. Need to touch them up. One thing I did try doing years back, you know, when you know the ball that's in spray paint. Years ago, I decided to try that out with my regular paints, and so I took these, you know, the BBs that you buy for like BB guns and stuff like that, little brass bearings. So I took my paints and I put one in all of them so that as it started to, you know, if they'd been sitting for a long time, I could just shake it up and the little ball would bounce around in there and help stir it up a little bit. What I didn't realize is, well, it's water-based paint, and so it's water and can cause the things to rust. See that at the bottom there along the edge? So I've got rusty paints from doing that. You can see where that one just sat for so long and just rusted right in that spot. Live and learn. Next time, use stainless steel bearings. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. I've got rust in my paints, and some of them have just been sitting for so long they just dried up completely and basically just formed like a paint cocoon around the bearing. So that's just the way it is. But now I know not to do that. It seemed like a good idea at the time, I suppose, like a lot of things do. There we go. Now that my brush has kind of got some stuff on it, I don't really need to touch up anymore. Not really, anyway. I think that's good enough. That's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just about painted over my nice little red and blue dots on here that I did last time. that were so awesome. I thought they were awesome. Well, not really. I didn't really think they were awesome. Okay, that one's done. Okay. I think this one's done. Okay. That's done. Moving on. Should do. There we go. That's better, much better. Just got my brush dry enough that I can paint just the tops of like all these wires or cables or whatever they're supposed to be without really affecting the black so much. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Adds that level of detail to it. This one I need to really touch up. These two, I went a little overboard on the black. Just kind of made it look, the whole thing look like crap. Just realized I have a tendency to hold this thing right very close to my chest while I'm doing it, and I think that ruins it for you guys who are trying to watch and see exactly what I'm doing, because I'm not doing it so much on camera. So I'll try and be a little more conscious of what I'm doing and lean forward over my desk. More mindful of it, at least to try anyway. compare. I think that looks a little better anyway. Not so much crazy black in there. It's just a little ridiculous amount that I wound up putting there. Even on these two tiny ones, it's just too much. I mean, there's a difference between something looking weathered and something looking like it's been abandoned for 40 years. Anyway, that is done, I think. Now, of course, I didn't bring my water back in here, so I'll have to go clean my brush. So I will do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so that's done. Now, the next step they want was to install these two panels and this little wire one with a little canister on it. Okay. Okay, so I said I need to clean up these edges a bit from the red, so I can just do that with the edge of my knife. Just scrape the red off. And that'll leave a clean edge. No red on it. Go. Not quite. There. Now that's been cleaned up and there's no more red along the edge of the piece. I'll do the same with this one. I've got these two pieces so close together it's hard to get in there with a knife to scrape exactly what I want. But that's okay. Such a minor detail. Alright, and that side's done. Okay, so let's go back to the main piece. Let's put these aside. We are supposed to, so I don't want it to be sitting right on those. It'll work, but it won't work. Here we go. I'll have to take my tape off the front, but I can probably get away with that safely by now. Yeah, see, now you can see where I got it pinched right nice and tight there, but then it opens up right here, and it's not, you know, I got it right tight here, and then it opens up here. I mean, if I wanted to get some, I could use some crazy glue, run it in there, and then hold it, right? Because I can, it's not like it, you know, I can squeeze it a little bit there and get it tight. So in theory I could get that to hold. See, if I try and use this with a brush and try and get in there, I'm just going to smear glue all over the inside, and that's just defeats the whole purpose. But I'll worry about that in a bit. For now, I got these pieces I need to put on there. So, which way do they go, George? Which way do they go? It goes like this. I gotta say again, I like the Tamiya build better because the Tamiya has the pod already constructed that you put at the bottom of the cockpit, and because I can't even tell where I need to glue this thing, and it sort of wedges in there. That doesn't want to come out. Looks like I need to glue on that edge, and then maybe here. Again, it's these little things like this that makes me not like what Revell has done. With this particular, I don't know what you would call it, the mold. The choices they've made in what needs to be done and how this thing comes together. I'm not impressed. You almost have to manhandle the thing to get it in there. This side's in, how's the other side going to be like? Yeah. Funny enough, I don't think they even give me the option um, of having the front landing gear closed. Like normally they give you a piece that would just go in there, and then that's what you put in place instead of doing this, right? It doesn't look. I don't. There's nothing on the screws that even show anything remotely like that. Let's see. This one I just kind of forced it in. Like, you're gonna fucking go in there. I mean, you're gonna go in there, like it or not. So that's that. That's the two sides in. That. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to get my detailing in there. Let's do that now. Where'd my black go? There it is. There. Now this little guy needs to go in there. How does he go in there? He goes on this side. Like this. And he just gets put. Nothing. Why aren't you glued? Okay. Next. I don't want me to do any more, but I want to. I want to continue with this, not suddenly move on to the engines. So I'm going to skip. Where's my big landing gear piece? There you are. Okay, that is garbage. And that piece. This needs to be cleaned off. This is going to sit like this. And I'm going to have a couple of points where it connects. This will be a major piece. This and that hole. And if this cooperates, which it's not really wanting to, but it's in there. There we go. Landing gear done. At least the front anyway. Okay, that's done. Now, I can probably safely remove these. And that is staying together nicely. I suppose one drawback to putting this on now is that I can't just put this down without risking that breaking off at some point. So now I've just got to be more careful with it. But I don't know why that's so rickety in there. Even with it glued properly, it's still not great. Let's see if I can figure out why. Because there's some flashing there. Maybe that's why. That was it. This other side just, well, it goes, but it's not the greatest. As soon as I go boink, it wants to pop out. What about the other one? Same thing. It's just a kind of a terrible pressure fit. Well, the glue will hold it, so I guess I don't have to worry about that too much. Anything special about those things? I think I just put them in and that's it. Yeah. Just put them in and that's it. Just have to make sure I got lots of good glue on there so that it doesn't pop out. Yeah, it's all right. Not like that. The other one. And this one just drops in now. I realized I am going to have to mask off this area here so I can paint that the same gunmetal as that I did the tip. It's okay, it's just more masking and more spraying. There. And the engines are in. Just like that. Okay. And now what is next here? Let's go back a page. That's done. We can put the nose cone on. That's another piece that I'm not very happy with how it looks when it's on there. Big, awkward gaps. There's a huge gap between this panel. And it's kind of, where's the compromise? Do I fix the gap at the top and fill in the bottom? Or do I try and do it normal the whole way? I think that's going to be my best bet. It's a pain in the ass. But what can I do, really? Throw a bunch of glue on it and hope for the best, I guess. That's the top. This is one part where I think I am going to wind up having to use the putty. Just because of the way it is. Very imprecise mold. Kind of looks like crap. I'll show you. See the big gap there? Right up here. You can see that. Just the whole panel. As you get up to the top, as they make a funky little curve in it, the curve isn't precise to both pieces. No problem, Uala. Yeah, happy Easter. So there we go. They're getting there. Now that that's on, the engines are in. We've got the landing gear hook. I don't know, the landing hook, whatever it's called. It goes right back here. And that's where the hook comes down to catch on the cable on the aircraft carrier. And that's the one I'm going to paint. It's not on this one. That's this guy here. And I'm going to put some stripes on it. It's in the instructions, they just want you to paint it one color. But after watching the movie, it's striped on the plane. So, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do some white stripes along that piece there. This guy can get put aside for a moment while I get ready to paint. There we go. So I'll get my tiny brush. Let's put some stripes. Little stripes. And now the other side. All right, that's done. So now, there's a whole bunch of little stripes on it. Right there, that guy. Now I'll go clean my brush. that's been painted. I'm going to get it off of the sprue. Paint is not quite going to be dry yet, but I want to get it ready. Came off pretty clean. Let's get that little stands ready here. So that's just going to go on like that. Gotta say, that little piece right there, that little end, that tiny little pin, goes into that big friggin' hole right there. Like, what the fuck? They make that such a big hole for a little pin. Doesn't even really get glued. Whatever, that's what it is. And that's that. Sure it's straight. There we go. Just like that. It's got a landing hook. Put that there. Okay, next. Landing gear pod's done. The hook is on, the jets are on. The nose cone is on. They want me to put some missiles together, but those are the missiles that go in here, and like I said, they were not installing those because Maverick's plane did not have them. In fact, I'll show you. So the F-14 has provisions to have missiles mounted right in the center of the belly, and they do that with these pods, and they go on here like this. They go like there and there. That's where they go, kind of like that, right? And then you got 4 missiles, 2 and 2, just go there and there, like that. Now, if we go back to the pictures from the movie, I'll show you on this one. That's the underbelly of the plane in the movie. There you can see the where that landing hook has all those stripes on it, just like that, like I just painted. But it doesn't have those provisions for the missiles in the middle. And that is like one of the few consistencies throughout the whole movie, is they don't have anyone. Oh, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. At the end of the movie, when Tom Cruise is just kind of taxiing in off the runway at the end of the movie, suddenly his plane has these things on the bottom. But for the rest of the movie, it doesn't have these at all. In every other scene, these are not on the plane. And so that's what I'm going to go for in this build. I'm not putting these on. So I can skip that step altogether on this and move on. In fact, even in the next step, they show you putting them on the plane here and how they go in the middle like that. But we're not doing that, which means the next step is the tail fins. So flip this guy over. I'll actually turn it around. And move my paints out a little bit here. This one out of here. There we go. Next is the tail fins. That's these guys here. I remember last time I put those little pieces on at the bottom here, on each side. I painted one of the actual rudders this different color, the darker red, the darker gray like the rest of this. I figured, hey, maybe at one point they had to replace the panel, and so there we go. So these just go on here like that, like that. Nice and easy. So any other steps? Maybe I should paint this part first. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to mask that off now and paint that. That's going to be the step now. It's painting those things. I'm going to need some tape. Glue can be closed up. I think I had originally put my schedule for today to go till 1 o'clock, but I think I'm just going to go at 12 o'clock today. So I've got stuff to do, and that needs to be done. So 25 minutes should be enough time to get this painted, and yeah, then probably call that a day. So I've quite a bit done compared to last time. So yeah, I think I can probably safely take these off now. Maybe not. There's a big gap in there now. I gotta glue that together again. If I can. Yeah. Somehow it just came undone. Maybe I shouldn't take the tape off. The rest of it's glued. This side's glued solid. Just not this side. Yeah, this obviously, clearly the glue had already dried by the time I got it put together. So I've got some touching up on the glue to do. Get this thing to stay together. Yeah, that's okay. For now. Some pieces here. That glued well, didn't it? Now the fun part is going to be this part actually just kind of curves down, and a little bit of a rounded part. That, I don't know if you can see the detail in the picture or not, but it goes down and it curves down like that. So rather than trying to bend the tape or curve it somehow, I'll just put it on and then I'll trace it out with a knife. Sometimes if you use tape that's super thick, it's hard to see the outline. I've actually done things like drawn on the tape before cutting so that I could see the definitive line. See, so that's what I mean. Got that curve there. Same on this side. And that side's done too. So still got a little bit more masking to do. Can't technically reuse this. Can't believe that landing gear thing came off so quickly. But oh well, that's the way it goes. That's the top. Top is done, but we also have to do the underneath. It looks like it's a little bit more simple, just going to be straight. So masking off this part looks like it's going to be a little bit easier. Of course, looks can be deceiving. We'll see. At least I can get away with just doing this because on the wing there's a nice line I can use to cut the excess tape. Go. I've got to go across. Gonna have a bit of a problem with that. Those pieces. That's gonna be tough to mask. So I'm going to do this. Get a nice hard edge on it. To put against that fin. I'm going to have to actually make a couple of tiny strips to go through there. Just like that. That should be good enough. Because that's no good. Hopefully I cut that short enough. I didn't. The natural lines. Remove that excess overlap. There we go. Nice straight line. Watch what I do here. Just who gives a shit? Just do that. It's one of the reasons why I keep a long fingernail. Just to dig into these little panel lines. There. Okay. Next, I'm going to take that side. That sucks. That really sucks. That is going to be a nightmare for me that I am going to save you guys from and not make you watch me fight while I try and get that thing back in there. Yeah, in hindsight, I should have kept the tape on it. It would have held it together while I'm doing this. Okay. I was about to sit down, but then I realized this fin was messed off. Okay. I want to do another layer here and here. I still have a little nib I need to protect there. overspray. This side needs more. Definitely needs more. My tape is getting a bit low. It might be time to take a trip to the store. Get some more. Maybe not today, but soon. I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go now. I'm a little wary about these two pieces, so I want to take that up a little bit more. I mean, at the end of the day, if I do get overspray, this is all the same base color, so it's not going to be too hard. It's just to wind up having to mask off the engines instead. Okay, time for some color. That's the top. And the bottom. So if I did a decent taping job, there won't be any overspray. We'll find out in a minute. Looks good so far. Oops. there we have it. The engine's painted. That's the top and the bottom. I'll do more later to get that bit of a burnt look on them, but I won't be doing that today. I do that with wax paint. I have some here, little guys like this. And this is actually wax paint, and you just kind of dab it on and you rub it on, and does a really good job of, you can make plastic look like steel and stuff like that. It's really a neat trick I learned a couple of years ago. But I think we're going to leave it at that today. I have to reassemble this fucking wing and put the landing gear hook back on properly. And we'll leave it at that. And yeah, in the next step, I'll let the paint dry on the engines, and then I'll put the wings and tail fins on. Yeah, I think that's going to about wrap it up for today. I got quite a bit done though. Got the two halves together, even if only one wing right at this moment. Front landing gear done, except for the wheels, of course. Nose cone. Cockpit is complete. Yeah, we're getting there. It's getting there. Slowly but surely. Alright, so I'm going to call that a day. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for coming to watch my stream. And until next time. Well, I've got plans to stream again tomorrow, so we'll continue this tomorrow. Yeah, definitely tomorrow we will continue on. And anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.